Hey there! Oh, you thought this was gonna be about Big Shot? Nope. Back when Chapter 2 came out, A Cyber's World immediately became my favorite from the soundtrack. I even tried making a remix back then, but with Chapters 3 and 4 coming out soon, I had to revisit that idea. If you want to skip the breakdown and just listen to the full thing, there's a timestamp on screen right now that'll take you right to it. But if you want to go ahead and go through it with me, let's get to it. Of course, I started with the main melody here, and just threw it on a piano with this electric pluck sound. I threw in some piano on the offbeat for the bass, and essentially had the original song. You may notice the song sounds more bouncy than these notes show. That was achieved by adjusting this swing knob. This changes the whole track to adjust some notes to be delayed to add that swing feeling. Next, to mimic the original song, I added in these filters that slowly open up throughout the intro. As well as this little swell that you may recognize from the game. Leading right into the chorus, I added another chiptune pluck to play with the other one from the intro. Next, I made some chords out of a super saw and a super square. Then I added a bass, this one being made out of two different basses. One for the low end, and one with more distortion for the high end. For the drums, I went with the basic 4 on the floor style beat. I also layered 3 different snares to get the sound that I wanted. Now we need to add some magic, a little something called sidechaining. Here I have the bass, chords, plucks, and a crash cymbal routed to a mixer channel with the kick. Using a limiter, we can tell the other sounds to get quiet each time the kick hits. It's just better like this. The song is still sounding a little empty here though. There are some gaps I left open that I'm going to fill with some reverb swells. First, I took all of these other sounds and routed them to another track where I put a very large and wet reverb on them. I added a wave shaper just to get it a bit louder so it's easier to work with, and then I automate its loudness so that it only plays in certain spots. I just really like how this sounds, and I add this trick to most of the songs that I make. You may have also noticed this little whoop sound here. It's just a square wave that quickly slides up an octave. At the end of this section, I take the sidechain channel with all of these instruments on it and throw on an EQ where I add a low pass and a high pass filter and sweep those upwards. This just adds a cool switch up for the transition, and I use it multiple times throughout the track. This is where I bring in the piano to play the new melody. Since I want it to be very present and cut through the mix, I added some compression and saturation. I also specifically don't add it to the sidechain so that it always stays clear. Here I took the first note of the melody and made a one-shot with some reverb on it, just so I could reverse it and use it as a lead up into the melody. And in this last section of the chorus is where I add a couple more elements. First, it starts off with another EQ sweep where I cut up the chords and bass to mix up the rhythm. You may have noticed I also added in the counter melody here on the piano. This plays for a bit, but then it gets replaced with these short strings that do a sort of call and response with the piano. And together, that all makes this. Moving into the next section, there's this part played by just the pluck. Then the melody, where I introduce a couple synths to play along with the piano. And have just the non-distorted bass play this part. And a kick for the beat. Going from the chorus to this section sounds a little sudden. So to fix that, I added a big reverb to the previous section and made that its own sample. Next, I added some more layers to that plucky part. I also bring the chords back. And the distorted bass, which both fade in during this transition. And just for fun, I threw in this little sound that you might recognize from when you save the game. I also added in another layer to the melody with this synth. That then turns into a harmony. For the end of this section, I added in some white noise risers to build up to the next transition. And once again, I threw in another sound from the game, this one being from when you would start a battle. This leads into the next section where I use the same two pluck sounds to make this part. For the melody, I use the piano again and have the reverse sound lead into it. Next, the plucks get some extra help to be in the spotlight. I also reworked the piano to work along with it. For the transition back into the chorus, I added another sound effect here. And after that, we go back to the chorus. I didn't really change it a whole ton, but I did switch it up at the end to do this. You may see where that's going, but I'm going to leave that as a surprise for the full song. And for the final section of the song, I added another melody here with these two instruments. And to end the song, I took a sample that I made of this final note, I chopped it up and made it repeat, and then made it alternate panning left and right, and slide down on the final beat. And that all sounds like this. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the song and you want to listen to it again, there's links in the description to where you can stream it and also a standalone YouTube video for it. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you like it. And also, if you want to see more videos like it, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those when they come out. I plan on at least making 1 or 2 remixes once 3 and 4 come out, so we'll see what happens there. I do upload every time that I upload. In all seriousness, I am finally back to making music and videos, so I appreciate all the people that have been patiently waiting and giving me encouragement the whole time. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end of the video. If you are new here, I do have other videos, Undertale video game inspired stuff that you should definitely check out. Either way, I appreciate you for watching. I'll see you again next time. Take care.